Hello? 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 On.
It has a little range. It only works within like a 20-foot range.
Okay. Hello? Oh, that works. Hello? Hello? That's not too loud, is it?
Perfect. You want me to turn it up?
I don't think we need it too loud. Is that good for
You
you?
want it up?
Little? Okay.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. True. True.
You can hit test, say test a couple times, and turn it up.
Test. Whoa. I'm gonna hold it further away from my, what's the ideal
Right
length?
about there probably is pretty good.
Okay, test,
Yeah, maybe a little closer.
test, test,
That's good.
test. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And I'm going to introduce you first and then
Okay.
tell other folks a few things. So anything we do, any questions asked have to be through the mic in order for the recording to get it. It's coming from up here, and everything's turned on
That's a
right
good
now.
reminder, yeah.
We're actually streaming live to YouTube right now, to the library website.
You're on camera, Liz, right now.
Yeah.
Say hi. Instead of International Olympics, would you like to hear that ordinance? Yes, that's where everybody is. They're home watching.
Yeah, you're not plastic or
And that there's a concert or something. Or something's going on.
Saturdays usually have presentations.
Oh, there are a lot of cars in the park.
Oh, yeah.
We did bocce.
That's usually a good time to get us to chance to close down, at the end of everything. We did that. You were over there.
In the morning. No, we miss it. If they could move it to the afternoon. And I heard, and I'm not sure if it's true, but I think they might have been able to go back to, or go to bowl. Okay. I'm not sure if it's still there. No, but on Facebook, she put a thing on, watching out for, registration for bowling. Okay. So, sounds like she's gonna do it again. Now, we've talked over the years of bringing her house. Well, that's what I was worried about. Yeah, with the pizza. And we had gone to do some stuff too. When we started. You can sit anywhere you want. Huh? Keep in mind that we're competing with the Olympics. Olympics in Paris. Oh. So probably your mom watching. Yeah. What's that? Oh. The Olympics in Paris. Oh.
We got 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, well, the panel's all here.
Good. You want some water, Joanne?
No, I have to finish. Hey, Peter. Peter, this is actually her whole, this is her mom, Lori.
Hi. Hi, Laura.
Peter coaches basketball and softball. Oh.
Oh, you're a coach for softball? How you doing? I am.
I guess I should have worn mine there too. My daughters.
Did you guys have a good experience?
Oh.
Yeah, great. What did you participate in state games?
Oh, I didn't participate this year.
You did?
No.
Okay. Have you in the past?
Yes.
Okay. She's been to Special Olympics for 32 years. Oh, really? I've been here for 30 years. You got me beat.
Huh?
I said you got me beat. That's great.
She also does, she does two sports in Vancouver. Or she's in Vancouver. do you live? I live here in Lake Oswego. We don't have snowboarding anymore, so they allowed our snowboarders from Portland and Oregon to go snowboard with them. We have one ski, and we have one ski. Because we used to have a couple from Vancouver that used to snowboard with Oregon. Because their programs are at different times. So now they've changed. Now that we only had 5. Sonoma County. I think that Sonoma County, well, I think most of them are from Sonoma County. Ashley was at that time when she started with them was with Washington County, but she has snowboarded with Clackamas because she's snowboarded with Chad Marcus and Mike McFadden, which is going to Italy in January.
For what?
Head coach for snowboarding.
I have a grandson.
For Italy?
I think that's where it's at for Winter Games. Yeah, I think.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm Kelly Bird. I'm the city's ADA coordinator.
Hey, Kelly, I'm Peter.
Coming today.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Sure. Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm Lori.
I've done a couple of
Nice to meet you.
My daughter Ashley's in.
Oh, hi. Ashley, nice to meet you. What do you play?
I do swimming, skiing, bocce,
Snowboarding, done bowling before.
swimming.
Okay,
Joanne, I'm
you're
gonna bring one of the chairs up just so that when they talk,
a well-rounded
the camera can see.
Okay,
Because if they talk out here,
And I also do a 24-hour plan, yeah.
but they could stand here.
24-hour
They could go up to the podium.
Okay, yeah.
where are you going?
That might work.
Or they can just
What do you would you prefer to sit when you talk or stand?
Standing all day?
Oh, yes,
All night?
Okay, yeah, then the
stay up all
camera.
night, but we go in 20, we go.
If you want, any of these comfy chairs I can bring up here. if you want.
Oh, I don't mind sitting, staying.
Okay.
The one-time course, I do it 24 times.
Accommodating.
Like, this is gonna be, I think, my 7th or 8th year.
She did the very first
You don't sleep all night?
polar plunge.
Huh?
You don't sleep all night?
No. Some people do, like, take naps in between, but,
Probably like in
Yeah, then you get the rude awakening.
2002 or
Yeah.
something like that.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
But they changed it. Used to be at the Fluffy River. Now they've changed it to the park, which is down off the cap.
Oh, at Willamette.
It's bigger there. It's a bigger park for parking, and because of
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
it's gotten a lot bigger now.
Yeah.
Whose medal did you steal?
Well,
like one
uh,
get a whole bunch of groups together and do mud fun.
I don't know, because some of the guys
And
could
then the
hang out,
24 hours, people
some of them
do
had to leave.
24 hours.
So we're having a pizza party on the 17th
Okay,
of August.
yeah,
For those who didn't get theirs, I'm sure they'll tell me who.
yeah,
Yeah, so I got a few medals in them.
okay.
There's like 3 or 4.
so what
There's like
sports do you
couple lawn
coach?
enforcement, I think.
Softball
And then there's,
and basketball.
Oh, okay.
it used to be Clackamas County
Good
Credit
time.
Union, now it's called Kimball.
Did your
Yeah,
teams
I'm
play
a
also on
member.
Sunday?
Pardon?
Did you guys also play on Sunday?
He's,
Uh,
him and
Sunday.
his daughter
We play
does
Sunday.
it, has done it, Olivia.
Yeah, we had one game on, Sunday.
His employees at the branch,
Yeah, we had one game on Sunday.
Oak Grove, and him. He did it last year, but, he's done it quite a few.
How long have you been?
We can get started. Have a seat if you'd like. Everyone's coming. Sometimes people show up right at the time, so that's good. Have a seat. There's also cookies back there. Yeah. We have done a test where we just have an event just with cookies, but we'll try that at some point and see what happens. So I'd like to welcome everybody today to a special event, the Special Olympics Oregon, past, present, and future. And my name is Todd Feynman. I'm a librarian. I've been here for about 30 years. And so today's program is brought to you by the Friends of the Library. And the Friends are a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing enhanced support for library projects of community interest. And we're pleased that you are participating in a library program. We'd love for you to know more about the Friends and the great programs they support, such as the Summer Library Challenge, music and author events, monthly trivia nights you might be familiar with, and the fabulous Lake Oswego Reads program. So They give us a lot of money from book sales and things to make these programs work. And you can visit the Friends website to learn more about their work, and also go to the Boutique Used bookstore, and you can join us in supporting the library. We have an event survey you can fill out at the end. That's actually over at the fiction desk. We also have assistive listening devices if anyone needs those as well. Those are also over by the librarian over there, and there's a sheet that tells you how to use them. But anyway, join us for the presentation by local resident Joanne Trask in honor of Disability Pride Month. Special Olympics was founded in 1968 and has grown to become a global sports organization for individuals with intellectual disabilities. We will look at the origin of the organization and the history, current program activities, and goals for the future of Special Olympics Oregon. And we'll have a Special Olympics athlete and parent. And if you have any questions, just let us know. And Joanne Trask is a retired environmental consultant who has lived in Lake Oswego for 36 years. She's been a volunteer with Special Olympics Oregon for 23 years, and her activities include coaching basketball, soccer, cycling, tennis, and hiking. And she's also served on the Special Olympics Oregon Clackamas County Management Team and served as the Clackamas County Local Program Coordinator for 6 years. When your titles get to be that long, you know it's gonna. She currently volunteers with a tennis program and assists the Special Olympics Oregon Clackamas County Medical Manager in processing athletic medical forms. And again, this presentation is sponsored by the Friends of the Library. If you have questions, I'm going to come out there with the microphone because it, unless we speak directly into the microphone, it's not streamed remotely for people. And with that, I'm going to give the microphone to Joanne. And there we go.
Thank you, Todd. Oh, I got that. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I think we're competing with the Olympics in Paris right now. Thank you to the Lake Oswego Library for inviting us to give this presentation as part of Disability Pride Month, held in July, which marks the 34th anniversary of the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act on July 26, 1990. This landmark legislation broke down many barriers to inclusion in society for individuals with disabilities, including intellectual disabilities. As Todd said, I am a retired environmental consultant. I've been with Special Olympics for 23 years, starting in Multnomah County with my daughter, who coached with me for her 4 high school years, and then I moved to Clackamas County. And currently I'm working with the tennis program, and since I've become a granny to 2 little ones who live in Colorado, I definitely have cut back my activities. But I do enjoy being with the tennis program and helping the medical manager process the medical forms. I will talk for about 30 minutes, and we'll have a chance for questions. And then we have a panel of experts. We have an athlete, coach, and a parent. Our mission. Special Olympics Oregon provides year-round sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympics-type sports for children, youth, and adults living with intellectual disabilities, giving them continuing opportunities to develop fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in a sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their families and other Special Olympic athletes and the community. I am likely breaking multiple PowerPoint rules by putting so many words on this slide, but I want to include the mission statement in its entirety. This is what we do. And the latter half of this statement in particular applies to all of us who participate. The joy of sports, the health benefits, the desire to be included, to test ourselves and compete, transcends so many differences amongst people worldwide, and we see this every day, and we're definitely seeing it in Paris right now. And Eunice Kennedy Shriver and others knew this was true early on. Okay, pop quiz. Can we name all 9 children of Joseph and Rose Kennedy? Doesn't have to be in birth order. Any guesses? John. Yep, we got the 9 children of Rose and Joseph Kennedy.
Robert.
Oh, you were good. Okay, John, Robert, yeah.
There's Eunice and there was Rosemary.
Rosemary and Eunice, got it. Yes, I know, neither did I.
No, Robert, I know Robert Kennedy,
And don't forget Teddy, or
11 kids. He had 11 kids.
well, I'll go down the list. We have John, Rosemary, and Kathleen, Eunice, Patricia, and Robert, RFK, and Jean and Teddy. Oh, am I missing one? Oh, yeah, one, two. Yeah, exactly.
There was one named Jake too, wasn't there, or something?
No,
Or John, or Jack.
Jack was John, JFK. That was his nickname. Eunice was the only Kennedy woman to get a serious education, and early in her career after graduating, she lobbied those in power on behalf of young people caught up in the juvenile delinquency system, on behalf of incarcerated women, and she worked on issues associated with the growth and development of children and opportunities afforded those with intellectual disabilities. She informed JFK that if he were to become president, the very first thing that he would do would be to convene a panel on what was then called mental retardation, and it was one of the first things that he did once he took office in 1961. The last piece of legislation that he signed included federal dollars for, among many other things, supported group homes, so that people with intellectual disabilities were no longer warehoused in large institutions. She believed that the federal government had a role in the lives of people with intellectual disabilities because they were citizens. Eileen McNamara has written a fascinating book entitled Eunice, the Kennedy That Changed the World. The author describes her as a formidable woman of considerable ambition, passion, and determination. And this biography provides a comprehensive review of the many issues that Eunice was involved with and her impact on many pieces of legislation. She was an amazingly productive person, despite suffering from insomnia, and like her brother, she had Addison's disease, an adrenal gland disorder. She was so relentless in championing her causes that at one point, when JFK was president, he told his aides just to give Eunice whatever she wanted. The Kennedy family had first-hand experience with a family member with an intellectual disability. Rosemary was born in 1918, and as she grew, she did not meet expected developmental milestones such as crawling, walking, and reading. The family kept her at home and included her in all activities until the age of 11, when they sent her to a boarding school for children with intellectual disabilities. At age 16, she went to a convent school where she could receive private instruction. But by age 22, she was having more severe behavioral difficulties, and Joseph Kennedy worried that her behavior would affect his son's political prospects. So he made the fateful decision for her to undergo a lobotomy, an experimental treatment at the time, and she was at age 23. This procedure robbed her of speech and the ability to walk, and she was sent to live at the St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children in Wisconsin. Her parents did not visit, and the siblings were not told where she was for 20 years. After their father's death, Rosemary slowly became more involved with her family and had learned to walk with a cane. In 1962, Eunice published an article in the Saturday Evening Post revealing Rosemary's intellectual disability, although there was no discussion of the lobotomy. This is the first time intellectual disabilities had been written about so publicly. Rosemary died of natural causes in 2005 at the age of 86. And author Kate Clifford Larson has written this book, Rosemary, The Hidden Kennedy Daughter, which I highly recommend. Prior to the founding of the Joseph P. Kennedy Foundation, people with intellectual disabilities were kept at home or sent to institutions, and the quality of care at these institutions varied widely from adequate to abysmal. Some families who kept their family members at home worked together to provide opportunities, and some in the medical profession were trying to identify causes and treatment for conditions such as Down syndrome. The Kennedy Foundation was founded with the goal to do good works and began by building schools and hospitals for children with intellectual disabilities, but shifted to scientific research and added recreation and physical fitness to the mission. The foundation was the first of its kind to focus on these issues. In 1957, Eunice took control of the foundation and brought her formidable energy to its mission. And in response to the needs of young people with intellectual disabilities in her area in Maryland, Eunice Kennedy Shriver opened Camp Shriver in 1962 in her backyard. It continued in her backyard until 1968 and included sports such as soccer, swimming, horseback riding, and basketball. The Kennedy Foundation opened a second camp in Washington, D.C., hoping that it would serve as a catalyst for the establishment of other camps and year-round sports programs. Camp Shriver Day camps for youth with and without intellectual disabilities continue to this day at various locations in the country. Meanwhile, in 1965, Anne McGlone Burke, later to become Illinois Supreme Court Justice Anne M. Burke, was a 21-year-old employee working in the Chicago Parks and Recreation Department, and she, along with 9 others, attended a training on a Kennedy Foundation grant working with children with intellectual disabilities. The training focused on adjusting teaching styles but emphasized high expectations. The Chicago Parks and Rec program for children grew, and in 1967 they put on a performance of The Sound of Music. And it was clear to Anne that anything was possible. So she submitted a proposal to the Kennedy Foundation for a citywide track and field competition. In typical Eunice style, Eunice Kennedy Shriver expanded the proposal, ultimately attracting 1,000 athletes from 23 states and Canada. And she called the event the Chicago Special Olympics. And in July 1968, Special Olympics was born. Celebrity coaches at the event included astronaut James Lovell and athlete Jesse Owens, among many others. And ever in forward motion at high speed, Eunice announced at the Chicago Special Olympics the formation of a national training program everywhere, and the Kennedy Foundation would provide funds for 5 regional tryouts and another international Special Olympics event in 1970 and every 2 years thereafter. What Eunice brought to the collaboration with the Chicago Parks and Rec with her huge ambitions, her belief in the abilities of people with intellectual disabilities, money from the foundation, and of course having siblings in position of political power helped bring many positive changes for people with intellectual disabilities. Special Olympics expanded rapidly. In the 70s, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th International Special Olympics Games were held in the U.S. Muhammad Ali would become a longtime supporter. In the 80s, Special Olympics programs had spread to more than 50 countries. In the 90s, new health initiatives, such as Healthy Athletes, provided screenings, injury prevention clinics, and nutrition education at competitions. During the decade of the 2000s, the first Global Athlete Congress took place in The Hague in the Netherlands. Special Olympic athletes from around the world came together to discuss the future of Special Olympics movement. Despite differences in language, culture, age, and gender, they held discussions, challenged existing ideas, and voted on new resolutions. By 2016, new census numbers showed that Special Olympics reach had expanded to more than 5.3 million athletes worldwide and unified partners, and athletes in nearly 170 countries took part in more than 108,000 games and competitions. This rapid expansion is not surprising to me, because what drives this growth is the overwhelmingly positive experience athletes, volunteers, family members, and friends have. It's just so much fun. Additionally, the extent of the global reach is not surprising because of the universal appeal of sports, which we're seeing in Paris right now. And I enjoy stories on the internet about programs around the U.S. and in different countries, such as this article from Oman and this article on the Rome Marathon in Italy. Special Olympics Oregon was started in 1972. I did not have much success finding historical information, but in the 23 years that I've been involved, I've seen steady county-level growth both in programming and number of participants. Additionally, the state office staff continue to optimize resources, including internet, website, and computer platforms to support local and statewide programs, which is especially at the county level makes it so much easier to get things done, optimizing volunteer hours. Currently in Oregon, we have 30 programs at the county level, 187,000 volunteer hours per year, 12,000 individuals served, 13,000 volunteers participating, and 2,500 students participating in 150 school-based programs in the Unified Champion School system. This Unified Champion Schools brings students with and without intellectual disabilities together to participate in school-based activities. I will use Clackamas County as an example of county programming. During the winter, we offer basketball and powerlifting as competitive sports and tennis as a club sport. During during summer, we have track and field, bocce, golf, and softball with tennis as a club sport. And in the fall, swimming, bowling, soccer, hiking and tennis as club sports. Competitive sports typically have one or more competitions each year. Club sports typically engage in a 7 to 8 week season but do not have formal competitions. During the Lake Oswego Tennis Center has let us use all 4 courts 7 to 8 weeks during each of 3 seasons for the last 20 years for free. It's a great program with 20 to 24 athletes each season, led by head coach and tennis pro, the amazing Jerry Allen. Due to the fact that the county programs are volunteer-driven, there is no cost to athletes for any of these programs. There is no screening. There is no tryout. The only paperwork required is a medical form and transmissible disease waiver. What Special Olympics offers is flexibility. If you have cerebral palsy and you are an electric wheelchair user and you're a Blazers fan and you want to play basketball and the only part of your body that you can really control is your left arm, you can come to practice and coaches will help you dribble, pass, and shoot so you can go to competition and compete in individual sports. If you're a person who is sensitive to too much stimulation and you're a Blazer fan and you want to play basketball, you can participate instead of the 5 versus 5 basketball team, the 3 versus 3 basketball team, or individual skills. If you're nonverbal, your coaches will find a way to communicate. If numbers make more sense to you than words, your coaches will figure that out and ask you to dribble 10 times and shoot 1 layup. As coaches get to know their athletes and learn their athletes' abilities and in particular what motivates them, they will adapt coaching styles. I had a teenage athlete named Eleanor in soccer one year who loved to chat and loved knock-knock jokes, and we were heavily into knock-knock jokes that year. And I found the best way to give her direction was in the form of a knock-knock joke. Me, knock-knock. Eleanor, who's there? Me, center line, far side, go. Eleanor, okay, and off she went. It worked. It is so fun to get to know athletes and see what motivates them, and the creativity of this process motivates me as a coach. Leadership at the county level typically includes positions such as these listed. All these people are absolute rock stars, and the county programs would not happen without them. Statewide leadership includes the board of directors, a diverse group of people with varying expertise, including 2 athletes that provide program oversight and accountability. State office paid staff, including 2 athletes, manage statewide resources to provide support for the county programs, such as paying for administrative costs, phones, equipment storage units, seasonal registration costs, insurance, etc., as well as underwriting portions of the regional, state, national, international competitions, and developing relationships with community and corporate funding partners. The Athlete Leadership Council gives athletes a platform to express ideas, recommendations from their peers to help improve the quality of Special Olympics Oregon's program and services. A comprehensive website offers resources for local programs, management teams, and unified champion schools, as well as participation information for prospective athletes and volunteers, and annual financial statements are available for anyone to review on the website, plus information on fundraisers and up-to-date news on the events. On the far right over here, we have in the red our fearless leader, Britt Oase. Second on the right is Mark Hankin in the red, who is an absolute magician when it comes to competition logistics and other details. Next, we have Joe Harvey and Luann Tabata. Both have been supporting county-level programs for years, in addition to a long list of other things that they do. The focus and purpose of an 8-week training program is to be prepared to test skills in 1 or more competitions in each of the competitive sports. We try to have a local competition once per season. For example, Clackamas County will invite Washington and Multnomah County to the Pumpkin Cup, and results from this tournament are used by the state office staff to bracket teams fairly in the regional tournament. Regionals are offered once per season in the competitive sports, and statewide games offered once per season depending on funding. Summer season state games have been on a bit of a hiatus until this summer, when they were recently held at Oregon State University, which is just an awesome venue. USA Games are held every 4 years. The most recent USA Games occurred in 2022 in Orlando, Florida. 5,500 athletes, 10,000 volunteers, and 125,000 attendees. The next U.S. game in June 2026 in Minnesota. World Games are held every 2 years and alternate between winter and summer seasons. And countries where World Games have been held include, among many others, Japan, Ireland, and the United Arab Emirates. The next World Games occurs in March 2025 in Turin, Italy, and after that, October 2027, Santiago, Chile. The first time games have been held in the Southern Hemisphere. Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. The athlete oath was written by Eunice. She wanted to emphasize the importance of trying one's very best. At the opening ceremony of each competition, an athlete leads their fellow athletes in pledging the athlete oath. All tournaments except locals are refereed by professionals. And this is hugely helpful for coaches because we worry less about disagreements over calls, although that can happen. Also, teachable moments occur, such as when a basketball player is struggling to understand a foul. You can ask a ref to quickly point out exactly what movement the player did that caused the foul to be called. Years ago, my soccer team was playing at a regional tournament in Milwaukee, and after the game, I went out onto the field to thank the ref, and as I approached him, I could see that he was in tears. And I asked him if he was okay, and he said, "These athletes are playing real soccer." And I said, yes, that is the plan. This was his first time reffing for Special Olympics, and I don't think he knew what to expect. He was thrilled to see athletes playing so well at a game that he cared about. And a while back at a statewide basketball tournament in Springfield, I had a basketball player who had not made a single basket during practice. He was a very earnest and hard-working athlete, but he got so tense under the basket that he could not set up his shot. During our first game at the tournament, he made his first basket, and his family was in tears. We were all going nuts, and this success totally changed his outlook of what he was capable of. Like what happens with many of us when we discover we can finally do something that we have been struggling with for a long time. In the third game of that same tournament, we were behind by 2 at 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And at 4 seconds, one of my players sank a three-pointer, and we won by 1. It was a difference between a ribbon and a bronze medal, and we cared about that. During the practice season, I had been quoting the great Larry Bird, "Push yourself again and again. Don't give an inch until the final buzzer sounds." And we had been working on never giving up, especially during a game. And this game was such a perfect example of why. After the tournament was over, I drove home and decided to celebrate by getting ice cream at Tillamook down the street here. And I walked in, where my son worked there at the time. I walked in and said, "Hey, Mike." And he said, "Mom, I just heard about a 3-point buzzer shot in Springfield." Somehow, the news had gotten there before I did. Every competition provides the opportunity for memories and stories, and it's moments like these that keep everyone coming back. Even when we lose, we are in it together, and we help each other out, and the athletes are expert at this. COVID. February 28, 2020, the first case of COVID was announced in Oregon. March 1st, 2020, Clackamas County basketball teams and those from 4 other counties were at the University of Portland basketball tournament, which was the first regional tournament for the basketball season and turned out to be the last event before the COVID shutdown. The amazing Special Olympics Oregon state office personnel quickly pivoted to online, Facebook, Zoom content in multiple sports with the priority of keeping people connected. We coached by text, telephone, email, FaceTime, and Zoom. We were assigned athletes, we had a training program to work with, and scores were submitted just like in the competition. Coaches regularly met by Zoom with state office officials and other coaches to brainstorm about the strategies for this new type of coaching. In September 2021, Clackamas was the first county to be back in person with a tennis program. Lake Oswego Parks and Rec arranged for us to use the Lake Ridge High School tennis courts, and we developed screening and masking procedures based on CDC and Oregon Health Authority recommendations, which everyone complied with. People put aside their differences. in COVID procedures to make this work, and it was an absolute joy to be back in person. This experience left an important legacy for Special Olympics Oregon. The Special Olympics Oregon Polar Plunge fundraiser, which had offered many virtual options during COVID, has kept the virtual options with all kinds of ideas for people to engage at home, such as water gun fights, snowball fights, all the way to participating by donating and napping, which is what my son-in-law and his dog do. These virtual options have greatly increased participation. The online fitness Facebook group SOAR Active continues to offer many virtual options, including CEO Britt Oasis Book Club, Fitness with Coach Vibes, Bingo with Special Olympics athlete Rachel Parsons, Cooking Experience with Coach Rick, and School of Strength Training from Home. If a COVID-like situation ever happens again, we know what to do. There are lots of ways to participate. If you would like to volunteer, you would complete the Class A volunteer process, which can be done online and includes a background check and online trainings. Completing this process does not commit you to any particular activities. Only when you sign up for a sport and a season are you committed for that season. This provides some flexibility if conflicts come up in your schedule in future seasons. Head coaches coordinate assistant coaches and the 8 to 10 week program. Being an assistant coach is a great way to learn the ropes and get to know athletes. And coach training is available in all sports. If you are younger, say 12 to 14, you can be a helper. If unified teams are available in your county, you can play as a unified partner. Management teams always need help. If you have a particular expertise, such as finances, fundraising, spreadsheets, your help is invaluable. If your availability is sporadic, you can volunteer for day of event gigs, which might be a better match, such as helping out at a tournament as a timekeeper, scoring, directing traffic, and it's a super fun way to be part of the action. There are times when the state office needs administrative support, such as data entry. If you have a particular interest area like yoga, you could propose a virtual activity on the SOAR Active Facebook platform. While there is a lower age limit, 6 to 7 can practice but not compete, and 8 on up can compete, there is no upper age limit, and athletes can participate for the rest of their lives. Athletes can change sports from season to season. For example, I have one athlete, or I know one athlete, who alternates swimming one year and soccer the next year in the fall season. If your school is a unified champion school, you can participate in those programs. If your county has a unified team, you can be part of that. In order to participate, athletes need to visit a healthcare provider and submit a 2-page medical form with a medication list, and transmissible disease waiver to their local program or state office. And these forms need to be renewed every 3 years. Registration for sports is done at the county program level, and athletes typically participate in the county in which they live. Registration can be done online or by paper through the mail. Recognize anybody there, Ashley? Yeah. Yes, it's Ashley the Polar Plunge. Special Olympics Oregon relies on fundraising at the state and county level. In 1981, Kansas City Police Chief Richard LeMunyon created the Law Enforcement Torch Run to help law enforcement personnel become more involved with the Special Olympics community. LETR is now the largest awareness and fundraising group for Special Olympics. In addition to carrying the flame of hope into competitions, LETR is involved in multiple fundraising platforms such as the Polar Plunge, which now includes a walking option and occurs at 6 locations throughout Oregon, or you can plunge at home or join the Super Plunge, which Ashley will tell us about soon. There's also the plane pull, which typically occurs in September and involves your team pulling a 40,000-pound plane 50 feet across the tarmac at the Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum for the fastest time. With these statewide fundraisers, revenue sharing typically occurs between the state office and the counties. Sandwich restaurant Jersey Mike's sponsors a month of giving when customers can donate to support Special Olympics throughout the month, culminating in a day of giving where Jersey Mike's restaurants give 100% of sales, not just profits, to the county program. Each county is responsible for raising its own money for their sports expenses and develops their own strategies for fundraising depending on the resources in their community. Recent Clackamas County experiments in fundraising include a fireworks stand earlier this month and a casino night coming up in October. This is where someone who has a gift or an interest for creative fundraisers is so valuable to the county management teams. There's so much to look forward to in the future for Special Olympics, including continued athlete leadership roles, expanded outreach into underserved areas, expanded unified champion schools and other unified opportunities, and developing sustainable funding at both the state and county levels. It is estimated that 100,000 more people in Oregon with intellectual disabilities could benefit. In the ambitious spirit of Eunice Kennedy Shriver, we will just keep growing until anyone who wants to participate has the opportunity. Thank you for being here today with us. Remember, there's lots of information available on the website, www.soar.org, and it looks like I forgot oh, there it is. Or you can contact me by phone if you have any questions. I highly recommend both these books, Rosemary and Eunice. In the book about Eunice, it's mind-boggling how many issues she worked on throughout her life and how she applied her relentless energy to every issue. Some photos from this summer's state games. Any questions?
Folks, have any questions? We'll take the mic and bring it to you if you have questions.
Well, now it's time to hear from our athlete representative, Ashley Herberholz. Come on up, Ashley.
If you want, Ashley, you can, I was looking at the live feed upstairs. If you stand right here, they can see you on the live feed.
Oh, okay.
Hold it close. Okay, hold it pretty close.
Hi, I'm Ashley Herberholz, and I've been an athlete for 30 plus years. I've competed in sports like downhill skiing, track and field, swimming, bocce, and then snowboarding. I started Special Olympics with a school day track meet in 1991 when I was in elementary school, and then grew from there. I competed in my first state games when I was 8 with downhill skiing, and then I went from swimming and track and field. And Special Olympics has been really good for me. Like I said, when I first started in the school day track meet, it was really cool to find friends and people that were just like me. Because I would get teased in school, like being like, "Oh, you're in the retarded class," or "You ride the retarded bus." But it was really good to be able to do sports and be with people that were just like me. It was like a good feeling to have. I also, one of my highlights in Special Olympics was in 2010 when I was the recipient of the Eunice Kennedy Shriver Award for being one of the fastest girls in Oregon, and also got to run with the U.S. track team at University of Oregon. And when I got to go to the award, getting the Eunice Kennedy Shriver Award, I was given it by the mayor. And then also it was a big thing that my grandma and my aunt got to be there as I got it. So that was a special thing. And then I also do the super polar plunge. I am a 7-time super plunge where I go in 24 times in 24 hours. And then I also do like a bingo night, which I'm doing tonight at Moreland Ale House from 6:30 to 8:30 to raise money for my super plunge. And we give out we do prizes and everything, so it's a fun. The owner of Moreland Ale House puts it on, so yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
Ashley, what does it feel like to do the super plunge?
very cold. But they have dryers on site, which is nice. And then of course they have heaters, and we bring our own like lounge chairs. We bring our own like sleeping bags. Some people bring cots because they like to sleep. They don't judge you if you want to sleep. But yes, the water, and as you go, every hour that we go in, like through the night and everything, it gets colder. And there was one time where it actually snowed, and that was really cold. But like I said, they bring in like a whole table of snacks, sweets, hot chocolate, coffee, all that stuff. And then, yeah.
What's your favorite sport to compete in?
My favorite sport to compete in is snowboarding because it's challenging. I mean, my favorite sport used to be downhill skiing, but I went from downhill skiing to snowboarding because I was wanting a challenge. But snowboarding is, I have to say, and then bocce is one of my favorites.
How do you practice for all this stuff?
Um, I pretty much go to practices. So when a practice comes up, I could, like go to wherever they need me to go for practices, and I get to have see my friends, which is an exciting thing. Bocce, like I said, is really fun. I have friends that have played bocce, and then I get to see them. And I guess what bocce, they call it Italian lawn bowling, so it's just like bowling. Really easy, really fun. And you can have like a partner, which is cool. So yeah, I have to say that's kind of one of my favorite sports too, because I think that's a sport that I'm going to be able to do long term, like when I'm older. And
So have you ever broken a bone doing all this stuff?
um, I have never broken any bones. A little bit, I guess. Snowboarding has been one. And then also, I used to run I've done the torch run a couple times, and right before I got to the Yamhill County line, I fell, and so I, like pretty much hurt my what do you, like, what you call down here? Yeah, my ankle, and I fell on the rocks, and so I pretty much hurt that really bad. So I had to be in a boot for like 2 months, which was a pain. I mean, like I said, right getting to the Yamhill County line, almost to the finish line, I was like, I was right to the finish line, and yep. And then, of course, I've had some concussions with snowboarding. This last year, I was getting off the chairlift and strained some muscles in my neck and my back. And then in 2011, I was going down the race course and hit my neck, my back, and my tailbone. So, but then I mean, pretty much what I do is I just get up and do it again year after year. I mean, I'm hoping to maybe do the torch run again. I haven't done that for a while. That would be a fun thing. Because I've had like however many years to heal up. So now, yeah. Yeah.
So how many years have you been doing this?
I started when I was 7 in 91, and I'm 40 now. Yeah. So I've been doing it for like 30 plus years, 32 years. So yeah. Yep. So started in 91 with the school day track meet, and then grew from there, and then went to my first state games when I was 8, and then just have been going on from there and thriving. And yeah, it's something that I'm hoping to be in for until the day I die. I mean, Special Olympics has really helped me. I mean, I have friends that I will have forever. I mean, yeah.
Ashley, can you tell us a little bit about the Athlete Leadership Council?
Yes, I'm also a member of the Athlete Leadership Council. We try to meet like once a month, where us athletes kind of like put out ideas of like what we want to see in our games and everything like that. Discuss different like how things should kind of go, what we want to do with the sports, how we want to do different things. It's a fun thing. I'm like the secretary, so I get to do all the notes and everything. But yeah, it's lots of people from all kinds of different counties. We meet a whole bunch of people. Question? I got this for snowboarding. Yeah.
Need a drone with this thing on here.
When's the next sporting event that you're going to be competing in if we wanted to come watch you?
The next event I will be participating in is probably the Super Plunge, and that's at Willamette Park in February. Yeah, yeah. So, but you can get that on the website. I hope it should be posted here sometime soon. But like I said, I also do bingo nights at Moreland Ale House, and I'll try to see if I can get those posted on the Special Olympics website too. So people, if you want to come, like if you like playing bingo, yes.
Any more questions, Ashley? Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, I agree. I recommend it. I would like to introduce longtime coach, softball and basketball, Peter Zinsmeister.
If you guys can hear me without the mic, Oh, for the recording. Okay, great. Ashley, thank you for coming up and sharing your experience as an athlete. And actually, it's actually because of people like yourself that I've gotten the opportunity to know as a coach that keeps me coming back year after year. So you spoke about your commitment, your excitement, your joy of participating in a variety of sports and the friendships you've made along the way. I think that's outstanding. So thanks for being here. I ain't doing the super plunge. I'm just telling you. Okay, I got no business being up for 24 hours. Okay, at all. And Joanne, thank you for all of your help and leadership as a program coordinator. I had the opportunity of participating when you were at the helm, and things worked very smoothly. It was a joy, and I thought your presentation was very informative, and I learned some things that, frankly, I didn't know about the program. Made me even feel more special to participate as a coach. So thanks. Yeah, I got into Special Olympics probably north of 15 years ago. I've kind of forgotten exactly when I got involved. But at the time, my purpose was to get my kids community hours for their high school graduation and position them to include that in their applications for college. As a matter of fact, one of my sons, all of my children have participated in Special Olympics with me as a coach at some time, either in softball or in basketball, which has been very cool. My children still stay in touch with a number of the people that they've met along the way, and there's a real tight bond. And they're always very interested, the athletes, as are my children, in wanting to know what the latest is with each member of the team. So for me, getting involved initially was for my kids. And at that particular time, I had my own personal struggles that were going on, right? We all have those in life at times. And I distinctly remember after my very first engagement, after my very first practice, I literally pulled over the side of the road and I just burst out into tears because I had found a connection with people that were extraordinary. And it was a privilege for me to have the honor and the opportunity to work with them. And now, north of 15 years later, I have the best group of friends that a person could ask for. So I feel very, very blessed in being able to hang out with such wonderful friends. So what also benefited me from coaching is the opportunity to bring other people into the Special Olympics family, the Special Olympics community, which is really what it is. And I kind of felt that more so in our most recently played state games, where I saw this great big family, this great big community taking care of each other. And really, that is not just the local coordinators and the other coaches, but it's also the athletes themselves. What do I mean by that? Well, we have different tiers of teams with different disabilities: high functioning, middle functioning, low functioning. But the athletes take care of each other. And it's pretty remarkable to see. They care for each other, they love each other, they root each other on, and they are as much a part of the coaching staff as the athletes themselves. So if you got some time on your hand and you're looking for an opportunity to fall in love, come on out and join the program. I can't tell you how much it's been an impact on me personally and those other individuals, including my family, that have had the opportunity to coach with me and enjoy all the fine celebrations that we have. As a matter of fact, this medal I've got on, we won at the state games just 2 weeks ago, I guess. And it's an absolute thrill to ride down on a bus with a group of athletes that are jazzed up to be playing in some competition for a weekend, hanging out at OSU, staying overnight in the dorms. There's a dance, there's food, just a lot of community going on, and it's just a thrill. So the next big event that we've got coming up is we do a celebration of the season, and we're doing that on the 17th of August at Pietro's Pizza in Milwaukee. And it's just it's one more grass to relive the glory of our season, and we'll all have a blast, because who doesn't love a good pizza party, right? So yeah, and Joanne kind of gave you all the information you would need. If you have an interest in learning more, feel free to reach out to me. Obviously, the site that she references where you can enroll as a coach, and to qualify as a coach, just pass the background check, fill out the application, and then the rest of it will take care of itself. And I promise you the time of your life. Thank you.
Any questions for Peter? Thank you, Peter. Yeah, Peter's been great all these years. Oh my gosh. So watching softball is one of my favorite things to do. So. Our next expert is parent Lynn Bonifay, whose daughter Kristen has been a Special Olympics athlete for a long time.
So I want to thank Friends of the Library for inviting us, that we can share, and how important Special Olympics is to our hearts. And for those that are viewing, we hope that that will extend to you as well. Well, like many that are involved in Special Olympics, especially coaches and volunteers, a lot of them are parents as well as the athletes. And I fall not only into the parent role, but I'm also a coach. And I've done bowling and bocce. It's nice to hear what you said about bocce. So it can be, as a parent, it can be very rewarding and yet challenging to have a child and now a grown adult with those special needs. When Kristen was born, we did not know that she would be born with Down syndrome. And so it broadened our world in many ways, and one of them is that it brought in a lot of specialists into our lives, and where we had cardiologists and ophthalmologists, speech therapists, OT, PTs, early intervention, and so forth. And then at a point she had to have open heart surgery at 4.5 months of age. She came through that beautifully, and we knew she was a fighter. A lot of prayer had gone into that surgery as well, but we knew she was a fighter. And as she got a little bit older, we knew that, you know, you hear the phrase where a person has never met a stranger. That was like Kristen. She was very social. So when she was in her early years of school, we put her in both the regular classroom and then pulled her out a little bit in some of the special, I don't know what sure they call it now, but special ed or life skills class, that kind of thing. So she met and developed some nice friendships. So when she was younger, she would get invited to parties, things like that. But as she grew older, the cognitive gap widens, and therefore less invitations for different things. We had her out in the community as much as possible. She even now, there are friends that she went to elementary school, junior high, and high school with, and they'll still see her and they'll talk to her. But it's more of a, you know, how have you been, and that kind of a thing. But it's not that deeper level. But we have appreciated them so much. She has even been volunteering in the past as a helper at a preschool and daycare. She was a greeter at a local restaurant, and so she even ice skated. Her sister ice skated, that's why she ice skated, but it was great. She goes to church. She does a lot of those kinds of things out in the community, but we knew that there was still something missing. And enter Special Olympics. She has participated in athletics, bowling, and now bocce for the last 3 years. And it really filled the gap for her with the friendship. And it filled the gap for the fitness, being social, and even learning. And talk about the creativity of Olympics, of Special Olympics. And I appreciate what you said about what happened during COVID. And I won't go into too much, but I even have she participated in on Zoom and even in person. We had fitness as a sport. We did that by Zoom, and we also did athletics. And I want to give kudos to Joanne, because Kristen and I would walk the high school track. She signed up for the 50-meter run and the 100-meter walk. So I would get my cell phone out, and she'd be on her phone. And as Kristen came down the lane, I would be holding my phone way out so that Joan could see her. And she was encouraging her. She was cheering her on. And Kristen just loved it. So, yes. So that was just really, really special. And when we talk about the learning piece, and I want to now talk about when we know why Kristen and as a parent, my husband and I became involved with Special Olympics because of Kristen. And then what are the benefits of being involved? And so there's really unconditional acceptance, and you've heard that before. The friendships are made. And in fact, when I was going on Facebook, I'm trying to get my state photos from the games down for bocce onto Facebook. I need help. But so when I was going on the Facebook, I saw, and I'm not sure what state they put on there or where they're from, but they said, I would like to have a friend, or no one said, I'd like to get involved, help me get involved. And there were constant comments from other athletes reaching out to these other potential athletes. And it was just really special to see that. Growth. There are skills, and you've heard this before today, that there are skills that they learn that are related to their sport. They learn teamwork, they learn cooperation, and I know with all of us, we should not plateau in our own personal learning. And I know Kristen continues to desire to learn things, and I think that's most of us, if not all, and especially the athletes, that they are continuing to learn about not only the skills necessary, but also how to live life. It helps them build confidence and even independence. We have fun times filled with laughter and hugs, and coaches and athletes alike, they become cheerleaders for one another. We find out that the coaches and volunteers are cheering for the athletes, but the athletes are also reciprocating with thanks and cheering on their volunteers and coaches as well. And it does, as we know, build character. And I was talking with Kristen, but also with some of the athletes that, yes, you can win all these wonderful, shiny medals. It's great. You can win those sportsmanship awards. But those fade in time. You might lose that gold or bronze or silver medal, but what you haven't lost is you haven't lost the building of character in you. That's what you can take with you. And so I like to, and I also have seen that the needs of the athletes outweigh the needs of the coaches and volunteers. What special people. We have really appreciated those that we have met over the years in the organization. And so John, my husband, and I would like to thank those who volunteer, those who provide financial support and leadership for the families, for the coaches, the volunteers as well, and especially the athletes. Special Olympics is such an invaluable community, really, for all of us.
Thank you, Lynn. Wow. Any questions for Lynn as the parent expert? Any questions at all? I really want to thank Ashley, Peter, and Lynn for being our panel of experts and coming today, and to everyone else for being here today. Thank you very much.
Yes, if anybody wants to volunteer. It's a great program.
Ashley, I actually brought the...
They get coaching too, and they get their friends involved. And the friends with them. It's just like when before the high schools were starting to get
The other one, this one is a tour de force. This is about Eunice Kennedy Shriver. She was just unbelievable.
Do you have this one checked out?
Yes, I do. So yeah, take a photo of that. But I'm going to be returning them today, so they should be back.
I know them all. All of them.
I still go to different things because I guess
Oh, no, wait a minute, Peter. I got something for you. Everybody gets a treat. Oh, let's see. There you
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
So
Thank
happy
you.
I'm eating.
See you guys. See ya. I'll see you out on the.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
It's a very cute little town, actually.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, I just want to be able to watch.
You know, yeah, you know what, if you can,
Okay.
can you text them to me with the share?
Yeah. I think she's returning her
So I'll double check and see. So if you wanna share them, I'll give you my number.
Okay. I do. I think I brought them.
746.
more copies of it next year in the library.
Oh, we'd have to, you can ask the librarian at the desk over there, otherwise I was gonna purchase some.
She does. She's a Special Olympics coach, but she's in Kansas City, Missouri. But yeah, do whatever I can. Oh yeah.
Like I said.
If you want it for anything, but yeah.
We got volunteers. That's really nice of you.
Volleyball, swimming, soccer.
Oh, okay. Get me out there, coach. I need to. I would love to coach. I mean, help. I love softball.
So when I was
Sure.
Seems like such a great program.
I do. I don't live in Lake proper, but just in the school district. Yeah, that's okay. I went to Milwaukee. I went to Red Cliff.
oh my gosh, well you're probably
Okay, yeah. Pietro's is where we went after sports. Round table on McLaughlin. I don't know if it's still there, but I went to Putnam, so yeah. And I need to give more and get out. Yeah, if you live here, okay. And I would also too, I'm gonna talk to Parks and Rec because I wouldn't mind helping the tennis going, like the tennis center, whatever I can do to help out here. Yeah, let me know where I can fit in the best. Thank you. I'm so glad. And I didn't know any of this history. So that was a really good presentation. I didn't know any of the history of how this all started.
it's
And I'll have to check out the book.
oh you just kind of this book is it's a tour de force. Holy cow. She was absolutely in what she got done in with everything. She wanted to do everything. And so and I'm actually rereading parts of it because it's so much that she did.
Can you get the other
It's
two from him?
mind-blowing, and she got to all these issues way before her brothers did. And all three,
They get the credit.
well, and none of the legislation that she was part of championing was her name on it. She liked to be behind the scenes, but she was pushing on all three of them, and she got to the issues long before they did. It's just very interesting. It's just wow.
Sad to hear too about the lobotomy.
Yes, that was very sad. Yes, that was.
But that's what they did back then.
Exactly. No. But Eunice.
That was
she,
amazing. I'm sure that's. I'm gonna look through your slides and
Well, she.
at the history.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, anyway. So she was motivated by the situation with her sister, but her world view was everybody, include everybody, and her employees complained about working for her because there was never an input. They would say, "Oh yeah, we got this done," and she's like, "Oh no, we're going to do all of this." So.
Do those off to the next project.
Exactly.
Not celebrating
Exactly.
the successes.
Oh no time for that.
Okay.
No, it's fascinating, and really inspiring too.
Yeah, I'm inspired. That was good. Really good. I hope people see it online.
I know,
And then
me
I
too.
encourage people, if you weren't able to see it live, you should watch the recording because it's powerful.
And having, I can't do it without, Peter's been fantastic over the years. He's really good with our high energy adult guys. He just knows how to keep them pointing in the right direction. And Lynn and her husband John, Kristen's mom, they fit in wherever, they help out wherever they can. And then Ashley does all kinds of things. Amazing
I
what she
know,
does.
she's
Yeah,
awesome.
I know.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you,
it's
Kelly.
nice to meet you.
You
Thank
too.
you so much for coming.